Excellent. Thanks, everyone. My name is Alfonso. I'm the founder of Crurated, and we are going to talk about wine and tech. Maybe you never associated, a good bottle of wine with tech, but that's what we are trying to do today. And we start with this picture, and this picture is from the first verified record of wines that is around 8,000 years ago. So wine is really part of our, human nature and human life. And it was found, unfortunately, not in Italy for me, but at least not in France. So they found it in Georgia. And in the pottery, they found traces of tartaric acid that is a key marker for grape wine. And if we look at this picture instead, this is one of the first representation of wine in art, and it's about 5,000 years ago. So 5,000 years ago, you could see on this painting that was found on an Egyptian tomb, the different phases of the winemaking process, and also people enjoying, a good glass of wine during religious rituals and events. So as you can see, wine is much older, than written language, much older than money, but definitely much older than blockchain. So why do we actually care about, having an incredible bottle of wine, especially as collector? So when we think about collectors, the way we think about what to buy and when to buy, it always goes, what's the next occasion? What is that, I want to celebrate? And this is the way we select bottles. So when we buy bottles of wines, we start to think about, the special occasion, maybe the anniversary I want to celebrate with my partner, maybe something that I want to, celebrate with my kids. And that's how we decide to buy, some of the very best bottles in the world. And the conservation of this bottle is critical because wine is a luxury product, okay? So we are going to talk about real-world assets today. But the most important thing is that being a live product, it's extremely important, the preservation and the conservation of the bottle. And that's why having bottle in state-of-the-art storages is critical in order to maintain perfect quality of the wine for the time you actually want to consume that wine. But also preserving wine in the best possible way is going to help you preserve the value of the bottle in case you want to resell. So how did I start, into this journey about wine? So at the time I was at Google, I spent 12 years there, in different roles. And I was a big wine lover, traveling, to meet producers, during my holidays, during my weekends. And I felt that the industry was really broken. It was extremely challenging for, people loving wine, especially young collectors, to get access to the most incredible bottles in the world. When you wanted to do that, actually you had to overpay 2-3 times the price because the wine system works with an allocation, meaning that if you buy the wines, let's say this year, next year you will get it again, and so on. So the majority of people getting allocations from top producers are very old people. So for young collectors, almost impossible to get access to any of these great bottles. The other option is to go to auction house. But the problem with auction houses is that you pay massive premium, and you have no idea about the authenticity. There are a lot of scandals, about fake bottles being sold in auction houses, or the provenance of the bottle. And as we said, if the provenance is not great, you end up paying a lot of money for a bottle of wine, and then actually, you end up wasting, money and bottles, and also having bad experiences while you were thinking of having, a great experience maybe with your partner, and you brought a great bottle, and that's not the end result. So that's a bit, how I decided at a certain point, to leave Google and to become an entrepreneur. So after 20 years in the corporate world, I made this crazy decision. And this is how it started.
I'm here in Burgundy. I arrived, and the plan is to launch this amazing startup. Yesterday we announced a lockdown, so it will be very difficult to go and see producers. Let's hope that actually they will allow me to meet with them. And I'm here alone, to try to kickstart this in the cold, all alone, in the middle of nowhere in France.
So this was the beginning, You decide to leave the corporate world, and then there is COVID, and they actually stop you from having meetings with anyone. But, I'm sure there are a lot of founders here, and you know how challenging it is, to launch a new company. But I'm sure, if you are very determined and resilient, you can actually make it work. And that's what happened. Then we were able to launch Crurated with the objective of connecting producers directly with top collectors and with top restaurants. And we used blockchain for the first time in order to authenticate, the bottle, and to have full provenance and traceability about every movement of the bottle. At the beginning, it was difficult. As you know very well, when you try to build a dual-side marketplace and you have no clients and you have no supply, it's almost impossible. But you have seen also a lot of very successful cases of dual-side marketplace, Uber, Airbnb, and many others. And at the beginning, we were able to get on board some of the producers that I was very close with, from Fourier, Camuset, some of the top Burgundy producers, and this brought a lot of clients. And then when there were clients, we were able to bring more producers, and then more producers, more clients. And that's how we built, in general, this incredible collection of around 210 producers today on the platform. And today, almost every day, we receive requests from other producers to join Crurated for what we are doing. And we reject around 80 to 90% of the requests, because we want to make sure that we only put on the platforms things that we will drink ourselves. Only the very best can actually come on Crurated. So, as we said, 210 producers so far. We launched in June 21, so it's almost 4 years now. We have 10,000 plus members. They mainly came through, word of mouth. We didn't really spend a lot on marketing so far. We have now around 250,000 bottles in our storage. It's a state-of-the-art warehouse in Burgundy. And after 4 years, we were able to sell. The clicker doesn't go. Anyway, we were able to sell around 60 million in wines. So we were able to build quite a substantial business, both with some of the top collectors in the world. Today we ship to 26 markets, and we started pilots in Italy, Netherlands, and Hong Kong on the restaurant side. So this is our journey. You can see it here in this quick video. So yes, quite exciting. We are also presenting today to press in London our metaverse, the first metaverse integrated with blockchain, so that people can check all their collections by using a VR. So we are also investing a lot in R&D, and definitely, there's a lot to do still in this space. And I'm actually very excited that from June, we are going to move to Avalanche. So I want to say massive thank you, to the team at Avalanche that has been supporting us. So we are going to move 60 million plus in tokenized wines on the platform. And, but, we are still not done, because so far what we have done, we have fixed the first part of the value chain, meaning from producer to client, and with bottles perfectly stored and with a digital certificate. What is missing now is the second part, of the value chain. Today, if a client wants to resell his collection, he needs to call an auction house. The period, in order for you to resell, the time to resell maybe takes 1 to 2 months, more or less. And after that, they need to certify your bottles, they need to verify, it's a very long process, they charge you 30%. So it's actually not ideal, for collectors to resell wines, in the current system. And so we are trying to build something that is going to fix all of that. From a collector standpoint, today there are tens of billions of these incredible wines that are stored in dark warehouses, but it's extremely important to make sure that the bottles are being stored in the best way, because out of the experience from so many collectors, we estimate that around 20% of the bottles are actually faulted because they are stored in the wrong conditions or they move too much. And when you move a bottle for 3 times, that happens very often with auction houses, from the producer to London, then to Hong Kong, and so on, the risk of having a faulted bottles goes up to 50%. That means you invest $1 million in a collection, most likely $500,000 worth of wines, is faulted. That is not ideal. The other problem is that with producers, they also have, the risk that when a bottle is not kept in perfect condition, then when someone is drinking, they maybe start to blame the producer for the bad bottle and not, let's say, the auction house. So it's very risky for them as well. And for restaurants, it's becoming more and more expensive, to build amazing wine list, because wines are more expensive. And there is a crazy problem in the distribution world, where when they sell you 10 good bottles, they actually force you to buy 100 bad bottles. And that's why you see the price of wines in restaurants be 5 to 10 times more expensive than what you see online on platforms like Vivino or Wine Searcher. So what can we do? And what are we doing? So in June, we are launching Crutrade on Avalanche, and will be an opportunity for collectors not just to buy wines, but also to resell wines and make wines available for other collectors without the risk of bad provenance from wines. The other element that we are planning to solve is to bring value back to producers. So today, when something is sold in auction houses, producers don't get any value back despite doing all the work. So we are going to have some value that actually goes back directly to the producer, and we guarantee with our warehouses around the world that every bottle is kept in the best possible condition, so that when someone is opening it, the quality of the bottle will be the very best. And last point, we are going to offer restaurants, that is quite unique today, the possibility to partner with us and don't invest anymore in building a wine cellar, but actually we are going to provide the wines just before dinner or lunch of clients by delivering bottles last miles directly into restaurants. That is, a big challenge for them today. So if you are curious about what we are building, you can scan this QR code, and you will see more happening in the next few weeks. And again, a massive thank you to the Avalanche team for the support, and hopefully we'll make this very big together. Thank you.